Fellow gardeners, I've got to share something exciting with you today. For the past 2 years, my team and I at Soil Sage Chronicles have been conducting what might be the most patient experiment of our lives, tracking exactly how long it takes grass clippings to transform into that precious black gold we all crave, humus. And let me tell you, the results are going to change how you think about your weekend lawn clippings forever. You know that moment when you're standing there with a bag full of freshly cut grass, wondering whether to toss it in the bin or find a better use for it? Well, after what we've discovered, you'll never waste those clippings again. We set up multiple test sites, used different methods, and documented every stage of decomposition. What we found will save you months of guesswork and help you create the richest soil amendment your garden has ever seen. When we started this journey, we wanted answers to the questions every gardener asks. How long does this actually take? What factors speed it up or slow it down? And most importantly, how can we optimize the process to get the best results? We established 5 different test sites across various conditions. Site 1 was a traditional compost pile with grass clippings mixed with brown materials like dried leaves and cardboard. Site 2 was pure grass clippings left in a pile to decompose naturally. Site 3 incorporated regular turning and moisture management. Site 4 used a tumbler composter, and Site 5 was our control grass clippings spread directly on garden beds as mulch. Each site was photographed weekly, temperature readings were taken, and samples were collected monthly for analysis. We tracked moisture levels, turned piles according to schedule, and documented every change we observed. This wasn't just casual observation. We were serious about getting you real, actionable data. Here's where things get fascinating. In our controlled compost pile with proper brown-to-green ratios, the first major changes appeared within just 2 weeks. The bright green clippings began darkening, and the pile temperature spiked to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, a sure sign that beneficial microorganisms were getting to work. By month 1, the volume had reduced by nearly 40%, and you could already see the beginning stages of decomposition. Month 2 brought dramatic changes. The grass clippings were no longer recognizable as individual pieces. Instead, they'd begun forming clumps of partially decomposed organic matter. The earthy smell that every gardener loves started emerging, replacing the initial grassy odor. Temperature readings showed the pile had moved past its initial hot phase into the crucial mesophilic stage where different microorganisms take over the decomposition process. By month 4, we were looking at something completely different. The material had transformed into a dark, crumbly substance that looked remarkably like store-bought compost. However, and this is crucial, this wasn't humus yet. This was well-decomposed compost, rich in nutrients but still undergoing chemical changes. The real magic happened between months 8 and 12. During this period, the complex organic compounds continued breaking down into simpler, more stable forms. The material became finer, darker, and developed that distinctive sweet, earthy aroma that signals true humus formation. By the 1-year mark, our grass clippings had achieved what soil scientists call humus-like characteristics. Temperature proved to be the game-changer in our experiment. Our summer batches, started in May and June, reached full humus status in 10 to 12 months. However, batches started in fall took 14 to 16 months to achieve the same level of decomposition. The lesson here is clear. If you want faster results, start your grass clipping composting during warm months when microbial activity peaks. Moisture management was equally critical. Piles that dried out completely, well, they slowed decomposition to a crawl, while overly wet piles developed anaerobic conditions that created unpleasant odors and attracted pests. The sweet spot we discovered was maintaining moisture levels similar to a wrung-out sponge damp but not dripping. The carbon-to-nitrogen ratio made an enormous difference in our results. Pure grass clipping piles took significantly longer to break down and often developed into slimy anaerobic messes during wet weather. However, when we maintained a roughly 30-to-1 carbon-to-nitrogen ratio by adding dried leaves, shredded paper, or cardboard, decomposition accelerated dramatically and produced superior end results. Particle size also mattered more than we initially expected. Grass clippings from lawns cut with sharp blades decomposed faster than those from dull mowers, which created more torn and damaged grass that took longer to break down. Additionally, mixing in some soil or finished compost as an inoculant reduced our timeline by 2 to 3 months. Our tumbler composter produced the fastest initial decomposition, but, it struggled to create true humus. The frequent turning and controlled environment broke down the grass clippings quickly into usable compost within 3 to 4 months, but the material lacked the stability and complex structure that, defines real humus. This method works brilliantly if you need quick compost for immediate garden use. The traditional pile method with proper management emerged as our champion for humus production. While slower initially, this method produced the richest, most stable end product. The larger mass maintained consistent temperatures longer, allowing for the complex chemical processes that create genuine humus. Surprisingly, our mulch application site taught us valuable lessons about in-place decomposition. Grass clippings spread directly on garden beds took 18 to 24 months to fully integrate into the soil as humus, but they provided ongoing benefits throughout the process by suppressing weeds, retaining moisture, and gradually feeding soil organisms. Recognizing when your grass clippings have fully transformed into humus isn't always obvious, but there are reliable indicators we discovered during our tracking. True humus has a fine, crumbly texture that feels almost silky between your fingers. It should be uniformly dark brown to black, without any visible plant material or fibrous content. The smell test never fails. Genuine humus has a rich, sweet, earthy aroma that's distinctly different from fresh compost. There should be no trace of the original grassy smell or any sour, ammonia-like odors that indicate incomplete decomposition. Water behavior provides another reliable test. When you add water to true humus, it should absorb slowly and evenly without creating puddles or running off. The material should hold moisture like a sponge while still maintaining its structure. This water-holding capacity is, honestly, one of humus's most valuable properties for garden soil improvement. Based on our extensive tracking, here's how to optimize your grass clippings for the fastest, highest quality humus production. Start your pile in late spring when temperatures are consistently warm, but before the intense summer heat. Layer your grass clippings with brown materials at roughly a 1:2 ratio, 1 part grass to 2 parts dried leaves, shredded paper, or other carbon-rich materials. Maintain consistent moisture throughout the process by checking weekly and adding water during dry periods. Turn your pile every 2 to 3 weeks for the first 3 months, then monthly thereafter. This schedule provides enough aeration to prevent anaerobic conditions without disrupting the beneficial organisms too frequently. Size matters when it comes to your compost pile. Our most successful piles measured at least 3 by 3 by 3 feet, providing enough mass to maintain consistent temperatures and moisture levels. Smaller piles struggled with temperature regulation and took significantly longer to produce quality humus. Consider your local climate when planning your timeline. In our temperate zone, spring-started piles reached humus status in about 10 to 12 months. If you live in a warmer climate, you might see results 2 to 3 months sooner. Colder regions may require an additional 3 to 6 months for complete transformation. The difference between quick compost and genuine humus extends far beyond appearance. Our soil tests revealed that true humus from grass clippings improved soil structure, water retention, and nutrient-holding capacity far superior to younger compost materials. Gardens amended with our 12-month humus showed improved plant health, better drought resistance, and enhanced soil biology compared to those receiving younger compost. This patient approach to grass clipping composting creates a soil amendment that continues improving your garden for years rather than months. Humus integrates with clay particles to improve drainage while simultaneously increasing water retention in sandy soils. It's really the closest thing to magic that soil science offers. The tracking data we collected proves that patience pays enormous dividends in the garden. While it's tempting to use partially decomposed grass clippings after just a few months, waiting for complete humus formation creates a soil amendment that transforms your garden's fundamental structure and fertility. Your weekend lawn maintenance just became the foundation of your garden's long-term health and productivity. Every grass clipping represents potential black gold. You just need to give it the time and conditions to reach its full potential. Ready to start your own grass clipping transformation journey? Remember to document your progress, experiment with different ratios and methods, and most importantly, be patient with the process. The wait is absolutely worth it. If this deep dive into grass clipping decomposition has inspired your gardening journey, make sure to subscribe to Soil Sage Chronicles for more evidence-based gardening experiments, and share this article with fellow gardeners who are ready to turn their lawn waste into garden treasure. Your future garden self will thank you for starting this patient but rewarding process today.